Hey everybody, what's up? This is Crypto Cody, and I'm so excited to do another video for you guys. Guys, if you could do me a huge favor, please like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification. That would mean the world to me. In addition to that, I'm pleased to announce that we are going to be getting into an interview with an awesome dude by the name of Jake Greenbaum, who is actually a co-founder of the company Pocket Notes. So let's dive into his thoughts on the crypto world and what he's doing to better it. Hey, I'm so excited to have our guest on the show today. I just want to kind of share a little bit about him. For those of you who don't know him, his name is Jake Greenbaum. And if you can find him on Twitter, he goes by the name of JB, the Crypto King. He's a little bit more about him. He actually graduated from St. Thomas University School of Law. He's an entrepreneur, blockchain developer, and co-founder of an awesome company called Pocket Notes. So, Jake, thanks so much for coming on the show, man. Really means a lot to have you. And I believe you're out in Florida. Is that correct?
Yes, it's actually gorgeous here right now compared to the rest of the United States.
Oh, my word. Dude, so here's the thing. I mean, we're on the complete opposite of the U.S. right now. I'm up in Maine. So right now, I mean, yesterday we had negative 13 degrees. So totally different in weather. So I'd rather be where you are for sure.
Yes, it's kind of crazy. I was thinking about either the pool later this afternoon to relax, given it's a nice Saturday, or whether we're going to go out down the main avenue for drinks tonight. It's very funny.
That's brilliant, man. Well, next time we do this interview, I'm probably just going to have to fly out to come see you then. So
no problem.
But awesome, man. Well, hey, so let's kind of hop into it. So I always like to start off with a fun question. My question too would be so you've been around the world a little bit. What's your favorite place that you've been so far in the world?
So there are a lot of places that are that really stand out, everywhere from Thailand to New Zealand. I mean, lots of crazy places you go for crypto. But one of my favorite that I really never expected to go to, and especially not for crypto, was Montenegro. Montenegro is a tiny little country in Central Eastern Europe.
Yep.
And because they're not part of the EU yet, it doesn't feel as developed as a London or Paris. But they have fjords, which are like rock cutouts from glaciers, and they only have them in New Zealand, Norway, and of course Montenegro. So it's got the old history, it's got the old culture, and as far as a scenic beauty, it's magnificent.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. That's awesome. Well, I got to check that out for sure. Okay, so let's hop into crypto then. So what initially got you invested in cryptocurrency and also just being a developer on the blockchain?
I'm not a developer, but what got me into cryptocurrency was more of the speculative side. And I was a finance major. So I did finance and I did law, and I realized something was broken in our system. When they teach you stuff in finance school, they tell you things like supply, demand, everything's perfect. There's no one manipulating the markets. And we all know that's not the case. We all know that there's more stock actually in the market than the actual circulating supply of any given stock. So with this common knowledge that's out there and no one really cares to act upon it, I figured something else had to come to be. So when I learned about blockchain, I had to get investigated. I was interested immediately. And when I had money to pivot into crypto, I started trading. And when I started trading, I started making a lot of money betting on Bitcoin along with altcoins. So that's what really got me solidified out of a law career and into a blockchain investment career.
That's awesome. That's brilliant. And you're a co-founder of an awesome company called Pocket Notes. Can we just kind of dive into, I want to spend a lot of time on this if we can, just about the company, what it does for the crypto sphere, and can you just kind of unleash your knowledge on this whole thing?
Of course. So the argument that's been ongoing for years is proof of work or proof of stake.
Yes.
Masternodes fall under the category of proof of stake.
Okay.
What a masternode allows is an individual to acquire a certain number of coins. For example, Dash, it's 1,000. So you acquire 1,000 of a specific currency, and with that 1,000, you can set up a masternode. Based on how many other masternodes are set up by individuals, you earn a deviating return. So sometimes that return can go up higher, sometimes it can go lower, depending on how many masternodes are set up.
Sure.
So that's basically the rundown. But what's more interesting about masternodes than just regular staking coins are masternodes let you take part in the community. They let you vote on major things coming up. They let you propose things. And that's what makes masternodes more different than, let's say, just a regular staking coin, which there are many great staking coins, but great masternode coins are further and far between.
Yeah.
So masternodes are easy to acquire the coins for, but almost impossible to set up. If you're not a developer, which I never was, I could buy the coins. I could find a way to generate enough wealth to get the coins, but then what do you do with them? How do you create the masternode? How do you take part in the community? How do you earn the interest? How do you do any of that?
Exactly.
And so that was where Pocket Nodes came to be. So Pocket Nodes is a mobile masternode staking application that can hold 10 plus tokens right now. And we're adding them as new masternodes come up that have significant interest from the community. It doesn't make sense to add a token that only 3 people are using,
Yes.
2 of whom are the founders, but we're looking to add ones that build upon the community to help build both the Pocket Node community along with their masternode community, making it all one-click staking.
That's brilliant, man. And it's obviously, it's making the community healthier too, right? As far as that, like, because there's different kinds of nodes out there. And I guess how would you be able to differentiate a little bit? And I know you tapped into it a little bit, but differentiate like all the different kinds of nodes compared to what the nodes process that you're using for yourself.
Of course. Well, different nodes are based on the quantity of tokens required and the participation allowed using the masternode in the community. Yeah. And the third part is how hard is it to set up?
Yes.
Some masternodes have literally one-click setup themselves, but only did it for themselves.
Okay. Yeah.
That doesn't make much sense. If you have the ability to set up a masternode for your own token, that same wallet could set it up for another token. But in the crypto space, normally coins are very selfish, trying to unleash the best technology only for their blockchain. Right. Ethereum doesn't want to help the Bitcoin blockchain. Bitcoin does, so on and so forth. So developers are usually very narrow-minded. And I thought we have to expand as a community. We have to help adopt one another. And a great way to do that is a masternode staking platform that solves the issue of staking, which is the hardest part, setting up the server, having to do the maintenance, all for what could end up being $10 or $20 a month per masternode.
Right, well, exactly.
That's lovely income, but if you're putting hours and hours and hours in most places, it's not worth the time.
Yes.
So we figured with Pocket Nodes, it solved that for all the tokens we wanted to add, and we added all the big ones that do masternodes right now, and we're going to continue to add as new tokens pop up.
That's so brilliant. And I mean, ultimately, like, it's so interesting. I really feel like this idea of like staking and baking and voting has been like a very, very large thing in the past, just within the past year. So you think that's pretty healthy for our community to be just getting into that kind of a residual income for the community, or?
Yes, I look at masternodes more like a checking account. Obviously, the amount that you can earn fluctuates, but you're not using the same amount of electricity that you use with mining. So if in the masternode platform, if in the platform you have a cap on how many tokens can be created, and you have the same, not deflationary measures, but much lower inflationary measures than our current like fiat system, then I look at masternodes as a great alternative to fiat and a different like type of coin than proof of work. So if you're interested in proof of work, you have to buy miners, you have to learn how to set them up. Once again, you go through the whole thing of the learning curve. Right, exactly. With masternodes and one-click staking, all you have to do is acquire the tokens. So similar to a checking account, you acquire the tokens, you deposit them, you're good to go.
Dude, sounds like Pocket Nodes is like right on key with what we got to be investing in. It's freaking awesome. All right. So I know that you're an investor, obviously, in the crypto sphere. What are your thoughts on altcoins as far as the future holds it? Do you think this is a bright future for altcoins in general, or what are your thoughts on that?
I think history has a tendency to repeat itself. Yeah. And as we've seen 3 or 4 times previously in bull markets in cryptocurrency, even though it's been here for 10 years, it goes Bitcoin, large caps, and then small caps. And usually when they run significantly harder than Bitcoin. So everyone gets all excited, we made 7x on Bitcoin. Well, trust me, I own Bitcoin. I'll be very pleased if it goes from 10,000 to 70,000. But if that does take place, which I'm assuming it will, given history repeating itself and the halving coming up, then altcoins are not going to do 7x. They're going to do 7 to 10x against Bitcoin. So you're going to get the same 700% gains, but then 700% on top of that. So we're talking that could be 49x on any given alt that has a real team, a real founder, a project with utility, and a view for the future. Too often it's just about dumping the coins on the market, whereas building out a platform that lasts a lifetime. Right.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And now, as far as Bitcoin goes, do you think that it's going to continue to dominate the total market in the crypto sphere, or do you think that some altcoins might take over Bitcoin, so to speak, as far as its dominance goes?
I think Bitcoin will, as long as we see blockchain in the way it's currently built, I think Bitcoin will be the most dominant coin by a long shot. Yeah. However, during the last bull cycle, it got all the way down to 34, 35, 36%.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And now we're back up to almost 80%. So will coins steal a lot of Bitcoin's dominance? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Will it go all the way down to 35% again? Probably. But if it does, that means those altcoins went absolutely crazy and everyone watching your show is going to be rich. So at the same time, there's like a lovely trade-off with Bitcoin still being the most dominant at 35%,
right,
but altcoins enjoying a huge increase in that market cap.
yeah,
And as long as the total market cap increases, which we got to about 890 billion last time, I think we're going to be at the 4 or 5 trillion mark. So that means Bitcoin's going to have over $1 trillion market cap, and then the alts are going to make up 3 or 4 trillion of that market cap.
Wow.
And it's going to be unfathomable to think right now. But if you look at the prior charts in Bitcoin and altcoin history, it says that's where we're going. And even at that point, we'll have a lower market cap than gold.
Right.
And I love gold, but it's just shiny.
Yeah.
Like, we can
a little heavy, right?
A little heavy. And most importantly is I can pay my team in India. Like when my team needs something, I can send them money same day. It's so hard to do that with traditional banking. And they don't accept to borrow gold on an airplane. So there's a in-between where crypto fills the gap that needed to be filled.
That's awesome. Now, outside of Pocket Nodes, I mean, obviously, you're quite the entrepreneur. Is there any other projects that you're currently working on right now that you would be willing to mention at all, or anything specifically that you're going over?
I'm trying to create a situation where people can pivot out of crypto into hard assets, because there are a lot of assets out there that appreciate similarly to Bitcoin. They have deflationary quantities that are produced, or they're no longer producing quantities. And people who have been in the crypto space for the last 5 or 10 years have had one thing in mind: acquire Bitcoin. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but people set goals, what would have been normal goals 5-10 years ago, of 1,000 Bitcoin. Well, 1,000 Bitcoin now is $10 million. So these people who've been trying to accumulate 1,000 Bitcoin since 2012, when it was only a $50,000 like goal, are now uber wealthy. But they're uber wealthy and have no idea how to pivot into hard assets, into real estate, into watches, into even gold, which I don't vote for over Bitcoin, but I do vote for being diversified. So you can have 80% of your net worth in a digital currency, but that doesn't mean that if the electronic world went away tomorrow, gold would have more value than Bitcoin. That's just how it works. Likely the digital world won't go away tomorrow because 99% of the population wouldn't be here if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly.
But you need to be protected. So I'm creating a pivot method, and I don't really want to talk too much about that because that's a little ways out, but I'm looking at creating a way to move out of crypto into hard assets and from hard assets into crypto.
Well, hey, I mean, I really appreciate the sneak peek, though. That's really awesome. So now, obviously, we have the halving coming up, right? And it really appears that history shows that after the halving, there seems to be some kind of a steady incline in the market and then a massive bull run a year later. So would you agree with that? Or, I mean, do you think we're in a bull market now? What are your thoughts on that?
I do not think we're in a bull market right now in the sense of 2017. I think we're in the beginning of a bull market, which is much better than a bear market, but there's a difference between like full-fledged bull, where you open Blockfolio and everything's up 15 to 20% with news of a website update, compared to coins pumping 10% and then pulling back 12%. So I don't think it's necessarily a bull market for any specific coins. I'm thinking it's more of a priming for the halving, and then post-halving, it's going to be full-fledged bull, because I still haven't seen any news articles. I still haven't seen any mainstream media coverage. I think we're still a very small, tight-knit community, and unless our friends or family have bought Bitcoin, no one's really holding right now any longer. The people who were trading in their offices 2 years ago aren't trading at work. So that's going to switch. It's just when. And when it does, the market's going to be crazy in comparison to where we are now.
Yeah, that is crazy to think about. And I mean, obviously, with that being said, though, I mean, a lot of people use the terminology mass adoption. I hear that a lot in the crypto world. And I guess my question is like, what does that mean to you? What does that look like? And do you even think that cryptocurrency and blockchain is even going to be in the category of mass adoption, like worldwide scale?
Yes, for no other reason that people are going to demand transparency with how their governments are spending money. And at the same time, they're going to want the ease of transferability. We're almost using blockchain technology as is, and we're already using digital currency. Credit cards are literally digital dollars that you pay off later. So if they weren't paid off later and were paid off at that time by digital dollars that we held, then we'd be almost fully integrated. And so I don't think it's very far off. Countries have already released news that they're testing their own digital blockchain currencies. I think before the end of 2021, we're going to have not a blockchain war, but I think almost every major country is going to have their own blockchain-based dollar, ruby, ruble, peso, bolivar, whatever it may be.
Right. That's awesome. Well, that's exciting, man. And no, I really think it's going to be really cool to kind of see how the world is, especially with the different technologies that are going to come out and how we use cryptocurrency. I'm excited to see that. So, hey, listen, I got one more question for you, if that's all right. And that is for all of my newcomers, all the people that view my channel and whatnot, could you just give us some advice, not just within the 2020, but just give us some advice that is your best advice as new investors, people that are getting into the market. What would you tell them as they're getting started?
You have to taper your expectations to how much you're willing to risk.
Yeah.
If you want to win big, you have to bet big. But at the same time, never wager more than you can risk losing. So no one should be selling their house to buy all of their Bitcoin. Yes, people have done it, and yes, they've turned out successfully. But if you were one of the people who did it in December or January of 2017, 2018, you would have gotten crushed. So sure, that would have been a good choice for 85% of the time, but you always have to be protected. So just like walking into a casino, this is still gambling. You don't invest in stocks what you don't have in liquidity. So if you're going to go into the blockchain world or invest in crypto, make sure you don't risk more than you can lose. But at the same time, understand that betting big means you can win big. You can't make $1 million unless you're betting 10,000.
Exactly.
So you've got to be able to put up the money to make the huge returns, but at the same time, never risk more than you can lose.
That's awesome. And obviously we want to make sure that we invest in pocket notes too, because it's a huge opportunity with what you guys are doing. And dude, I really appreciate what you're doing for the crypto sphere. It's I want to just encourage everybody again to follow you on Twitter. You can find Jake over at he's JB, the Crypto King. And that you can find him and follow him on his tweets. I'll make sure that I leave all of your links in the description below. And dude, thank you so much for doing this and taking the time out of your day to just kind of share with us your thoughts on this world and cryptocurrency.
Of course. I love talking about crypto, blockchain, and thank you for having me on. Hopefully I'll be back.
Awesome, man. Next time I'm coming to Florida.
We can do that. You can sit here at the pool with me and we can do this right poolside.
I'm in. Awesome.